Welcome to the second replay of Pub Battles Monmouth. Now, I made a really embarrassing mistake on the first one. I forgot to include baggage trains. Now, this is really embarrassing for me because I'm probably the biggest proponent of baggage trains in the new 3.0 rules. I love their sudden death effect they add to the game. The ineffable point where an army just gives up, where the troops start panicking and leaving. Nothing captures this better than the baggage train rules, where when you capture the baggage, you win, or you get a lot of points that pretty much guarantees you're going to win. And what I really like about the baggage train rules is they're so simple. They make the decision in the game, they make deciding what to do very complex. But the actual mechanic is incredibly simple. To be able to recover from spent to fresh, a unit has to begin its turn within command range of an unpacked baggage train. Simple. Baggage train moves around like any other unit until it unpacks. You flip it over. Once unpacked, it cannot move, ever. Basically, it's saying, okay, this is where we'll make our stand. Now you can recover and all this kind of stuff, but you have to hold that position. If the enemy breaks through, then you're done. You're saying, you know, it's all over. They've overrun our communications net. They've overrun our hospitals, on top of all our supplies. It's a very panicky thing if you're forward to realize that the back area has just been overrun. So, with that in mind, let's play Monmouth again. Monmouth, turn 1. Lee rides out just east of the Kerr Farm. Now, the Kerr Farm is important because the British gained victory points for controlling things west of the Kerr Farm. So that marks that. The stretched out American army marches on. Turn 2. The Americans are still coming on. Maxwell advances forward to drive off the British cavalry. Being turn 2, Cornwallis does not get drawn, but the British dragoons have been contacted and they have the option of leaving. Since they're contacted by foot, they can simply ride away. It's a retreat. They fall back, and we now go to turn 3. I have drawn Cornwallis, but Lee wants to move first, and he's successful. Cornwallis challenges that position. He's successful. Alright, the British have come on. They were hoping for a flank attack, but they could not make it. So it'll just be a forward attack on Maxwell. Maxwell stubbornly falls back, reducing Abercrombie's elite to spent. Turn 4. Reset the command chits. Cornwallis is drawn first. Lee attempts to go first. He fails. Lee manages to reform the line as the British attacks move in. You can think of all this as the British are attacking, coming forward. The Americans are falling back in good order, or at least no worse order. Maxwell simply falls back to that point. Turn 5. Lee moves first. This time, Lee would like to delay, so again he can fall back if necessary. He is successful. Cornwallis wants to make them go first so he can attack where and when he wants to. He is successful, so Lee must go first. Now here we can see Lee has elected to unpack his bags. Now this is solo. When I play solo, I turn them up like this so I can see them, and I let the chit draw play the fog of war. In a two-player game, you turn them face down like that, so the enemy doesn't know where the bags are, and they have to make their best guess. So they're unpacked. This allows Maxwell to recover. Now the Americans are once again at full strength. But now they're vulnerable, as the British now have a juicy target. Since the Americans have unpacked their bags now, the British go ahead and unpack their bags. This allows Abercrombie to recover to fresh and rejoin the battle. The British send a unit along the flank, try and break down the American defense. A stunning American victory. The British fell like leaves in the fall. It's turn 6. We'll freshen up our generals. Now turn 6, Washington shows up. Now sometimes you can say he shows up to restore the battle after Lee's failure. At this point, he's showing up to take the credit for a battle well fought so far. But the Americans don't want to be being pushed back. They want to be attacking the British. Washington has a better chance of affecting the turn order. We'll see how this plays out. Okay, Cornwallis goes first, and he likes this because ideally he'll move up and the Americans will continue to fall back. Washington wants to play a different game. He shows up, says, dude, I got this. Lee takes off. He's going to move first. Cornwallis says, not so fast. Cornwallis moves first. There we have it, the British rush forward. Here, where the Americans have the Continental Artillery set up, the British do a combined arms attack with the dragoons and the infantry. The Americans have to fall back, but they give the British a bloody nose, and that's Abercrombie's elite again. Here the Pennsylvanians push the hated Hessians back. And you'll note here that although Washington could have fallen back further, being that he was moving second, he wasn't playing that. He came here to win. Disaster on the American right. The Continental Artillery falls back. Well, hey, this is a combined attack. It's not gonna do well. They fell back. There was a detachment there to cover their retreat, but a detachment is eliminated on a retreat, even a voluntary retreat, because it's taking a casualty, and that destroys the detachment. Turn 7, last turn of the game. The Americans go first. Now, last turn of the game, both sides want to fight here. Both sides want contact. So turn order is not as critical because neither side's going to back away. The artillery recovers. They can't shoot. All they've done is recover. Okay, so this is what the Americans have done. They've got 2 flank attacks going. Now, the Hessians can attack and stop one of them, but they can't, or try to break one of them, but they can't break 2 of them. Alright, Lutz attacks the Pennsylvanians from behind and to attempt to save Abercrombie and the elites because they're worth more points. Those guys need to be saved. The Pennsylvanians are destroyed. Alright, the Americans drive Abercrombie's elites back, but they completely eliminate themselves in so doing. They're completely exhausted in the effort. They're no longer considered a viable part of the battle. Here the Americans came off unscathed, but the British simply retreat back. End of turn 7, game over. The Americans have lost 2 units, the British have lost 1 unit. The outcome of this is that the Americans were unable to damage the British to stop their retreat back to the coast, thus ends the game. So the baggage trains played a critical role, and it didn't complicate the game rules-wise, but it added to the depth of the strategy. That's why I like those.